Alright, welcome. We got an interesting project today, and it involves this part right here. This is an infrared sensor. It's got 3 pins on it, and we're going to use it to build a Corona hand washer. So I'm going to call it. So we'll have this, and then we're going to use, there's a lot of variety you can build into this. I'm going to put a little buzzer in there as well, and a RGB LED. So the goal is we'll use this to start the program. They'll move their hand over the top of this, and this will detect that. Starting the timer, I'll have this buzz just for 1 second when the timer starts, and that the person will be starting to wash their hands. Then it'll run for 20 seconds, and then the person wash their hands needs to know when to stop, right? So I thought I would use the RGB LED. I'll have it be green while they're washing their hands, and then go, say, red when they're done washing their hands. And I might even have this go on at the beginning so they kind of know it's working. So it'll be red, and then when they move their hand over the infrared sensor, then the buzzer will go off, and then we'll have the RGB turn red. After 20 seconds, the buzzer will only go on for 1 second. After 20 seconds, then the light will go back to green, saying, hey, you're done washing. So that's the plan. We're going to put this kind of piece by piece, and we'll hook up this first and make sure it works, and then we'll go on to the other 2 pieces. This is the new one. We haven't seen this one before, and then the others we've seen before, so that's old territory. Alright, I think I'm ready. Let's switch to this view. Alright, I'm taking this, and the first wire is the signal wire, the middle wire is the ground, and then the one way over here is the 5 volts, and it says it on here. VC sees the 5 volts. Will I get that closer? Probably not. There we go. The VC sees the 5 volts, GND is the ground, and out is our signal out. You can read those. I'm just reading them right across on the top of the wires. Okay, I'm just going to plug that in. Say, it looks like a good spot. So it needs 5 volts. So let's hook that part in. I'm going to send this over to 5 volts, and then I'm going to use this whole rail for my 5 volts. So I'm going to plug this in. It's a little short. I'm going to see if I get a longer red wire. Do I have a longer red wire somewhere? Here we go. I'm going to plug this one into here. Doesn't really matter. I can even go, well, let's just go over here, and there's my 5 volts. I do have this plugged in. You can see the light on. I should probably unplug it while I'm wiring this up. And that looks pretty good, except you can't see the 5 volt that I plugged it into. Let me raise this up just a little bit so you can see everything just a little better. Well, that didn't change much. How do I tilt that? Just a hair. Alright, that looks pretty good. Okay, the middle one was the ground, so let's connect the ground up. So we're going to make this the blue rail here. We're going to turn that into the negative. It's kind of a big wire there. Let me put a smaller one in. So we're going to go right here to the negative, and then of course to make that whole rail negative, I'm going to move this one over to a ground on the Arduino, which I see 2 of them right over here, and I see a ground over here. But let's put it off next to this one. Alright, so now I can just use that whole blue rail for the ground, and I can use the red one for the 5 volts. So we need one more wire, the signal wire, and I like to use yellow for that, but I don't have to, I suppose. But I have a yellow one, so let's do it. And we're going to send this, oh, it's not going to reach, so let's do a longer one. That third one, and we're going to put that in one of the analog pins. I think I'm going to do, let's do A5. I'll put it in A5. Alright, so I've got it in A5. Alright, that looks good. That's all we need to get this wired up. So let's write some code to get this thing to work. And then maybe I can put this over here in the meantime. You can see all of it together. That looks pretty good. So let's open up this. So I've got something open already. Oh, I was messing around with some other stuff. Actually, we can just use that though. Whoop. Let's go to new and clean this up just a little bit. Get this out of the way. Give ourselves a little space. Alright. Down here, let's see, where do we want to start? We want to, this yellow wire is going to be a signal that's going to be going into our Arduino. So let's start with that. We're going to do pin mode. Tell the computer that expect A5 to be an input. And then we want to make sure it's working. So let's take a look at it through the serial monitor. Serial begin. So we'll turn on the monitor. All right, the monitor is on. And then we need to gather whatever information is going into the Arduino from our infrared sensor. So let's gather that. We need to call it something. Let's call it IR sensor. That looks like a good name. Since this is something the computer doesn't recognize, we have to give it a data type. We're going to say it's going to be an integer. And that will work because we're going to be collecting some numbers from this. Alright, so IR sensor. And we're going to use analog. We're going to read what's coming in on A5. And then we like to see what it's reading. Serial print. Let's just make it really quick here and just put in IR sensor. So this will read whatever's coming in on pin A5, and it'll store it as this variable, which we said is going to be an integer. And then we're going to have it printed out right here. And we want to delay this a little bit, or the numbers are going to go screaming by us. So let's do like a half-second delay. Alright, I'm going to plug my Arduino in. Got some lights going on. Notice, I'm going to tip this. Notice when I put my hand over this, nothing's happening. Nope, there we go. I don't know if you're seeing that. I guess the camera up here is blocking it. But when it gets blocked, or unblocked, that green light I'm looking at right here goes on and off. The camera's right above it. I think it's, well, we'll find out. Let's take a look at it through the serial monitor. So I plugged it in. Let's go to tools. Let's hook up the right COM at once. The board was good, so let's upload. Let's call this IR sensor. Okay. Just waiting here for a minute. Behind my head, I've got some little break. Alright, I know it's going slow. Just waiting for it here. Seems to have a little lag time on my camera for some reason. Come on, you can do it. Acting a little strange. Okay, finally got done there. I was going to bail out and copy and paste and go to another one. I still might do that. That was really slow, so let's figure out why. Oh, I see. We have the MKR0 board hooked up. We don't want that one. We want the Arduino Uno, so we're going to switch it. Hopefully it'll go a lot faster this time. MKR0 is another board we'll be using. We've got lying around here, which we'll do a really fun project with. Looks similar to Arduino, but it's a bit smaller. Alright, that was faster. So that was our problem. Okay, so let's take a look. And we're getting 958. I'm going to put my hand over it and see if anything changes. Now it's down to 39. Remove it, 958. Back to 40-ish. I'm going to tilt it away from the camera, see if there's if it's... Okay, so... Let me pull it back here. That's a little strange. I'm going to move it. I know you can't see it a little bit. Totally away from the camera. Definitely, I'm completely away from anything obstructing it over top, and I'm at 970 something. Put my hand over it, and it's dropping down to 39. The camera's causing a slight problem, depending on where I put it. So we might have to do some move it over to the side just a little bit. But basically, when it's not obstructed, we're close to 1,000, and then when my hand is over it, then we drop down to a number that's less than 50 in our case. That's what we need to know. So 900 when nothing is blocking it, and we want to be able to put our hand over this to turn our Corona hand washer timer on. So we want to put the hand over it, and then we want it to beep. Say, hey, all right, I recognize your hand is over this, I'm beeping, and then we need to see a light change. And then the clock starting to tick. So let's, I don't know, what should we do next? Let's put some lights going on and see if we can get it to change color. So I've got my RGB LED. I'm going to put in right here the long one, the long wire is right there. Keeping track of it, I'm going to put it in 35. So I know the long wire is in 35. That's my ground wire. So I'm going to send that one right to ground, like this. Our blue rail is ground, so that's going to work out nicely. And then I've got some resistors here. I've got this board that's really stiff, hard to get things in there. I'm going to go off to the side. I'm going to put a resistor in for each of the three colors of our RGB LED. Come on. That is stiff. Alright, and one more. We need one more for the red one. Now that one went easier. Give me a break there. Okay, so each of my resistors is heading to the other three wires on my RGB LED. We'll bend that back a little bit. And that long one is going to ground, the one that's connected to this black wire, which I've already got going to ground because this wire is heading to ground. Okay, so now I need some signals to go to these three wires. I'm going to actually use a red one for the red wire, and we're pretty much just turning these on and off. So I'm going to put, let's do 10 for that one. Actually, that one's 10 for the red one. The green one, I'll use a green wire here. Let's do a 9 for that one. And then the blue wire, you don't have to color code these. I just happen to have these 3 colors here for that one. Okay, so I used 8, 9, and 10 on the Arduino, and we could have used, as long as we're using a digital pin, any of them would be just fine. Okay, so now let's have red be on all the time unless something happens. So let's program red to go on and just be on, and then we'll go that far. So we got to go up here. We're only using pin 10, and I don't think I want to declare a variable for pin 10, but I do need to do a pin mode, and this is going to be an output. And I forgot to tell it what pin to use. Pin 10 is my output. Let's do it for all 3 of them over here. Let's do a pin mode for 9. We'll be outputting a high and a low. We've done this before, done this a few times. So you should be getting somewhat familiar with how this works. There's 8. Alright, so each of these pins, we're going to be sending something out of them, and we're sending something out of the wires into our RGB LED. So we know this works. We just leave that in there for now, or just get rid of it. Let's just for now comment it out. We'll get rid of that. Underneath here, let's just turn it on. Digital write 10 high, and that just should simply turn on the red. And let's be thorough here and tell the others to go low. Alright, let's just check out this part of our work. By pausing here, we can make sure our code is going well, and if it goes on, we know some of our coding is, some of our wiring is looking good. And how about that? Our red light went on. So I'm feeling pretty good about our wiring, and this is what we wanted. We wanted the light to go on until we put our hand over the IR sensor. So we will turn it off, but not right now. So we need a little if statement, I think. So if, remember, if my hand was over this, no, I forgot. Let's take a look at the serial monitor, which I told it not to use, but now I want to use it because I forgot. If I get this backwards, our if statement will be backwards. I need to know when to turn this off. I think it was 37 when it's blocked, or it was low when it was blocked. Okay, I wrote if in there and I just left it there, so we need to get rid of it. Pretty sure 37 was, or less than 100 was when our sensor is blocked. But let's be methodical and slowly go through this. Alright, and then I block it. Alright, that is what I thought. So now let's put our if statement in. If IR, let's see, IR sensor, let's say less than, I don't know, 800 would probably be just fine. It dropped from 950 down to less than 100, so going below 800 is probably a decent value. So what do we want it to do? Well, first off, let's have it change colors. I'm going to copy and paste this whole thing. But I don't want the red one to go on, because the 10 is the red one. I want that one to go off. And we want the, what did we say, the green one would be nice to have it go on, like go. So that is our 9. So let's have this one go high. Alright. And then This might happen so fast that we won't even notice it. So let's have it do this for like 1 second. Excuse me. So we're collecting our infrared data from our sensor. We're storing it here. We're looking at it. We're turning the red light on and the other two off. And then we have a little if statement that says when we put my hand over it, and then we're going to turn the red off and turn the green one on for 1 second. So let's give that a try. Need a little water. Alrighty. Whoop, something is unhappy. If sensor. Oh, not if sensor. It's an IR sensor. What am I doing? Easy fix. I had IF instead of IR. I got to make sure it's exactly the same, or I won't know what it is. They'll say, hey, got some new code in here. I don't know what it is. You didn't define it for me. Alright, we're done. So let's open this up as well and put our hand over it. Hey, it turns green. How about that? So far it's working really nice. Okay. Now there's a slight delay in there before it responds, but that's because we told it to stay there for 1 second so we can kind of see what's happening. Alright. And now we would like to get that buzzer going, I think. So right when our hand goes over it, we want it to buzz maybe for a second, have the light switch. Doesn't matter which one comes first, I suppose, but let's just put that into here. Let's wire it up first. We're running out of room. How about we put it over here somewhere? I'll put that one in 20. So the positive end, let's just work with the ground side. I don't have any of the black wires, so I'll use white. And is it far hole or is it not going to be the far hole? It is going to be. Which hole is that one going to do? It's hard to tell. It's in 20, and I'm going to put in 2 spaces, and then the other one. Okay. When you put this into the breadboard, you can't tell what hole you're in. So let's do that. This is my ground. On the other side, we need to have a signal. So I got a yellow wire here, and we're going to send that to. Where should we send that? How about 13 way over here? That sounds like a plan. It's kind of wants to be over there anyway. So 13. This one went to ground, and now let's add some program. So we want it to make a noise, a tone. We're in pin 13, and I'm not sure what a good frequency is at the moment, but let's pick 3000. Okay, so go on. This will make a noise. It'll change the color right here, and then it'll wait a second. Then after that, we should probably turn it off, because that'll be very annoying to have it buzzing the whole time. Not tone. We need no tone, and the pin was 13. Nice. And I think we should even, I'm actually going to move that over just a little bit so I can see it a little better. Let's just do this step. We add a new piece. Let's make sure it works properly. Notice it's actually going together pretty fast. I was expecting this to take a while. Alright. It is done. Opening up this so we can see what's going on. You hear that little buzzer? Nice. Now if you don't like that buzzer, we showed you in the video how we can try a different buzzer, or we can change these values. But I'm going to stick with that. I think I like that. The only thing I didn't do, which is probably why it's sounding a little quiet, is I didn't put a pin mode for 13 being an input. Nope, output. We're sending information to the buzzer. So let's try it one more time and see if it's a little louder with that. Or maybe we don't want it louder. We'll see. Alright. Here we go. Actually, I want to open this up so we can. Alright. Now, not much of a change, just mild. Alright, so what else did we want to do? We wanted to now count. We need to, do something for 20 seconds. I think 20 seconds is how long we should be washing our hands. So let's go into this little loop inside our void loop, inside of our if loop. We'll have another little loop that's going to count. So the buzzer will turn off. This will still be red, but now we want to get a timer going. So we're going to do a little for loop. So for, declare a variable x, make it equal to 0. We've seen this before. And we're going to have x be true. Let's see. Let's do like let's go the full 20 seconds. Actually, just drop down to 5 so we can just be into like testing mode. I don't want to wait 15 extra seconds while we're testing this. And then we need to slowly increase the value of x each time we go through the loop. So while we're in the loop, we should probably turn off, let's see, we just turned it on here, so it should stay on, so the light won't be a problem. Then the buzzer will turn off, so all we really need to do is count. And to get it to be 1 second each time we go through the loop, we need to put 1,000 in there. So it'll pause right here for a second, and then it'll go back to the beginning of the for loop. It'll add 1 to it. Check to see if this is falsified. If not, it'll wait another second. And then it'll do this 5 times before it jumps out of the loop. So let's give this a try. Adding a little piece at a time. The last thing we need to, oh, doesn't like something. What did we do? X is not declared in this scope. We did declare it as an integer right there. So why is it unhappy? Did I accidentally press O instead of 0? Or oh, I see. I got a capital X here and a lowercase. So that probably was the problem. Let's try it again. I had a capital X here and lowercase is there, so the capital X it would have been confused by. Alright, so it's armed, it's red, and then we'll put our hand in the way. We get our buzzer. And we don't know what's happening, right? It's at 5 seconds past, and then we switched back to red, and that means we need to not wash anymore. So this is looking pretty good. If we were uncertain, I suppose we could put a couple of checks in here. Since we're just kind of waiting, we don't know what we're waiting for. We could put like X, so it would print out exactly what's happening. So let's go ahead and do that. I think that's about all we needed to do. Okay, open this up. Now, I probably have a slight hard time reading this because we're getting the IR data, IR sensor data up here, and then we'll have X. But I think it'll be okay because it'll put it in between the 967. Let's give it a try. So it's armed, it's red, it's saying, all right, I'm ready to tell you when to start washing your hands. You put your hand over it, changes color, beeps at you, and we look at the serial monitor and it's counting, counts up to 5, and then the light goes back to red again.
Students, if you ride bus 78,
sounds like school is over.
26.
I need to make this.
If you ride bus 78, today you will ride bus 26. Robert Kent.
Let's switch this to 20 seconds so we have it to be the full time for washing our hands. There's a lot of variations we could do with this. We have to be changing colors while you wash your hands. We got to be beeping the whole time. Every time a second goes by, it could click or whatever. I just chose to do it this way. Alright, so let's pretend like we're testing this out. Everything is ready. I walk up to my machine. I move my hand over the sensor. Turns green. And it's counting. I look at my serial monitor, and yes, it's counting. It's saying, okay, keep washing your hands for 20 seconds. And you're washing, and so forth. And then at 20 seconds, it goes back to red, telling you you're done. I'll leave it up to you to figure out maybe some other ways we could do this. We could have it beep at the end when we're done. Maybe you want to try doing that. Put another little beep outside of this for loop. Once this loop is done, maybe have a beep right here in this little space. Or do you want it in this space? This space right here is going to be within the if loop. Right there. So I'll let you think about that. Try putting it in here, see what happens. Try putting it down here, the tone. Up here, make sure you turn the tone off. Or, it'll just keep beeping. Even if you go into some other part of your program, if you don't tell it to turn off, it'll keep going. Alright, I think this went well. It was pretty smooth. A lot of wires, a lot of things going on. But it ended up to be, program-wise, not that big of a deal. So, give that a try. Hope everything works out for you. And we'll see you later.